I left Wall Street when I was 30 years old. I brought in like 6.5 years, over $5 million. It was so hard to leave that world and then to still be in Manhattan and still be sort of around, to go to a dinner and see the group of Wall Street guys and they were all making $1 million that year and that I wasn't. It was really scary, and so it was really important to me to get out of that world. I called it an addiction to money, but I think it's actually bigger than that, because what leaving Wall Street meant to me was leaving behind an entire system of beliefs. I was dating my girlfriend, who is now my wife, and so we came to Los Angeles in 2010. Food has been something that I've struggled with my whole life, and I grew up an obese kid. My wife and I one day watched this documentary called A Place at the Table, which was about hunger in America. And it really described very well this problem, this confluence between hunger and obesity. And the thought that there were kids 5 miles away from where I was living that not only had to deal with that, but also had to deal with being hungry and not knowing where their next meal is coming from. And so we started this program called Grocery Ships. So it's 10 families at a time who receive a scholarship for groceries. And that means that they go through a 6-month program where for 2 hours each week they meet and go through this class. Maybe at some point there will be like super healthy restaurants with really low prices in low income areas, and we'd certainly like to be a part of that. But for the meantime, there's not, and so what we're doing is created a program that could at least try to alleviate that disparity in some little bit. When Grocery Ships was just an idea, I called up Michael, my former boss on Wall Street, and I said, Michael, we are thinking about starting this program. It's going to be scholarships for groceries for low-income families. I think a single grocery ship is going to cost about $3,000. Are you willing to donate one? And he just looked at me and he said, I'll take 10. And that's how Grocery Ships started. There is a tremendous amount of problems on Wall Street, but they're also like complex human beings that have families and have friends, and some of my close friends are still on Wall Street. And I do think that time and time again our culture makes the mistake of demonizing a group of people and sort of feeling like that is the problem solved. The real question in our society is, how is it that we're so angry at these people, but we also aspire to be them, right? Like, we want our kids to go to Harvard, we want our kids to get into Goldman Sachs so that they can have enough, so that they can start their foundation. It's a problem that exists in the red carpets and in Silicon Valley and in a whole belief system of our culture that says you're either valuable if you're successful and prestigious and famous, or if you're living a sort of ordinary life, then you're not worth anything. My wife and I are expecting our first child, a daughter, in April. And so more than anything that I want to do is give her the sense that she's valuable no matter what, so she doesn't have this sort of like tortured part of her that is trying to make millions or trying to be famous or feels like at some point in the future life will be enough. I would love it if she felt from the beginning that her life was enough and that she was enough from the beginning.